It's Happy Hour again from Uptown New Orleans. Hello, I'm Grant Morris. Happy Hour is part of the family of shows on the podcast network. It's neworleans.com. When you walk into a bar in New Orleans and you pull up a bar stool, you never know who's going to be sitting on either side of you. What you do know is no matter what they look like, what they're wearing, whether they're just going to have a limousine or just going to have jail, they're going to be happy to talk to you. Because that's New Orleans, and this is Happy Hour, a cocktail-fueled 60 minutes of random conversation with folks who have nothing in common. Other than we're all New Orleanians in a bar. Today we're at the fabulous Maple Leaf Bar on Oak Street. It's hard to believe, Andrew Duhon, that we're actually here.
It's such a fresh-sounding thing, what you just said.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so used to saying all these other places that we've closed down. We closed down Wayfair. It took
right.
us 5 years to close down Wayfair. It took us 3 weeks to close down the Ferret Beer Room. But the Maple Leaf has been here for 45 years. It's the longest operating music club in New Orleans. Did you know that?
No, I wouldn't have guessed that.
That's true. George Porter's here on every Monday. The Rebirth Brass Band is here every Tuesday. And John Clary is going to be here every Friday all the way through Jazz Fest.
Nice.
So how about that? There's music every night here at the Maple Leaf. And if you can join us here for the next 60 minutes, this is Happy Hour. I have an incredibly impressive lineup of people here today, Andrew, for our very first show from the Maple Leaf in 2020. Anne Parnes is here. Hi, Anne. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. The only thing about the Maple Leaf is this tiny little table, which is our table, not theirs. It's super uncomfortable.
It's totally fine. Thank
But
you.
after you've had a couple of these drinks, you'll be all right.
Fine.
What are you drinking?
Kettle soda.
Kettle and soda. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you guys, this is what Anne does. I'm going to read this sentence that Graham DePonte, our producer, gave me. Anne is a professional matchmaker.
Nice.
Right there. How about that? That got your attention, right?
Yes, indeed.
Bats Bradford is here. Bats, how are you doing?
How's it going? I'm doing well.
Thank you so much for coming along here.
No problem at all.
Why are you called Bats, actually?
Well, that's a story. Well, I'm a big Batman fan. It starts there.
That's how it started.
That's how it started, and it became a nickname when I was doing spoken word poetry, and as I transitioned into acting, I kept it as part of my Martin Bats Bradford, as part of my name. So like you just asked me, where does Bats come from? I feel like for casting directors going through pictures or headshots, they're like, wait, what? What's this Bats? So they give it at least a second look.
You might have the nicest voice of anybody we've ever had on Happy Hour in the last 9 years we've been doing this.
Yeah, I would agree.
When you say?
I'll
Totally.
take it.
What a beautiful speaking voice.
Thank you.
Where did you go to high school?
McMain.
McMain.
Yeah.
Are you the only guy who talks like that from McMain? Did you educate yourself, or is it?
Man, I'm gonna just claim that.
All right.
I just happened.
That is a beautiful. Well, McMain used to be on. Is it on Carrollton?
It's on Claiborne.
It's on Claiborne.
It's on Claiborne in Nashville.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, that's that one.
McMain
They just
Magnet.
painted it.
Yes, they did. They just gave it a complete
horrible
overhaul.
colors they chose. Did you have anything to do with that?
Hey, man, I have a bias, so I cannot speak ill of my alma mater.
I thought they must have got that paint cheap, actually. That's what I thought.
But they got a gym out the deal because they didn't have a gym for
Oh, really?
years.
Oh, okay.
Right.
All right. And how long have you been out of school?
I graduated from McMain in 2004.
Okay, so not that long, really.
I mean,
15.
give or take.
Oh, 16 years then. I guess it feels like a long time to you.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem that long to me, 16 years ago. And you're a big fancy actor, even though people might not necessarily know your name, but they certainly would know your face.
Well, I'll take the fancy.
Yeah.
I won't dispute it if you want.
Do you recognize a man?
I don't, but I don't watch too much TV, so.
What do you do at night instead of watching TV? Date?
No, I don't date. Work, spend time with friends, spend time with my kids.
So you work after hours on matchmaking?
I do, yeah.
Okay, I've got a lot of questions for you about matchmaking, don't you, Andrew?
Same, yeah.
Bats, you have a question about matchmaking?
Definitely. I've never met a matchmaker in person.
No, it is pretty amazing. And Big Chief Delco is here as well. Chief, how are you doing?
Fine.
Just
fine.
when you think you couldn't get more eclectic.
Well, fine.
You're doing good? So, Big Chief Delco is the chief of the Creole Osceola tribe.
Creole Osceola was Mardi Gras Indian.
Mardi Gras Indian. Are you called a tribe or a gang or a crew? What do you call
We've
it?
been called all of that in the past.
Yeah.
The word gang comes from the old Indians back in time who worked on the riverfront. And they worked with work gangs. But on the side and for carnival, they're dressed as Indians.
Right. So when did you start making Mardi Gras costumes?
Well, I followed the Indians under my past chief, Allison Montana.
That was Tootie Montana.
Tootie Montana.
His real name is Allison?
Yeah, Allison Tootie Montana.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I followed him as a little boy. And when I got out of Vietnam, that's when I started massing. It was something to do.
You're not Vietnamese, though, just to
Not Vietnamese.
make that clear.
Not Vietnamese.
You're in Vietnam as a soldier.
Yes, I was an infantryman.
Did you go voluntarily to Vietnam?
No, they fooled me on that one. They fooled me
What
on
was
that.
what was the sales pitch?
Well, the sales pitch was I wouldn't go to Vietnam if I volunteered.
What?
Right.
Really?
So when I volunteered, I went to Vietnam. And,
Is that really how it happened? They
yeah.
tell you if you voluntarily join the army, we won't send you to
we
Vietnam.
wouldn't send you to Vietnam.
Damn.
Wow.
But at that time, they were building a division, which I was in the 9th Division, down in the Delta.
Yeah.
And I was 19 years old.
That was the average age of soldiers in
Yeah.
Vietnam, according to Paul Hardcastle.
Oh, yeah. And I hadn't seen that much killing in all my life,
Even growing up in New Orleans. You weren't
Well,
prepared.
New Orleans wasn't like that at that time.
Is that right? What years
New
are we,
Orleans was very family-wise.
what year are we talking about?
We were talking about 1968.
So we weren't the murder capital of the country in the 1960s. That
Well,
was later
I hate to say it on
on the record.
mic,
Yeah.
but it could be said in many ways that way, because it was a lot happening at that time.
So you're saying it was a violent place or it wasn't a violent place?
New Orleans?
Yeah.
Oh, New Orleans is not a violent place now, really. It's just where you at and who you with.
Yeah.
Basically, I love it. I've been all over the world.
Yeah.
Started going all over the world with these Indians. And New Orleans is, oh man, I've been to some places. People don't even talk to you.
What, like where?
Oh, California. If you're in the wrong area of
True.
California.
That's true.
New York.
New York, they don't want to talk to
They
you.
don't,
Yeah.
they don't talk to you.
So you travel
But-
all around the world as an Indian with your costume?
Well,
With
different
that
days.
gigantic
Yeah,
headdress?
it's gigantic. 100 and
What happens when you get to the airport with that?
well,
First of all, how do you get that in the car, right?
well, you ship it. You can ship it,
You all right?
right? And some of the questions you ask me, some of them answers you're gonna be asking me, I can't tell you.
So you take the... I mean, how much does that thing weigh, that headdress of yours? I mean, those gigantic feathers and...
Sometimes it can weigh anywhere from 85 to 110 pounds.
And you put that on, you balancing that on your
Put
head
it
and
on your head,
shoulders?
right?
Wow. So what's it made of? What's the structure inside it made of?
I just told you I
That's
can't
the-
tell
You're
you.
not allowed to say that. That's a
Yeah, I could
First
tell
rule
you.
about Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club.
Yeah,
Okay,
right. And,
so
but
the-
I could tell you, it starts from a football helmet. I was the first guy to make a suit with a football helmet. If the football helmet fit you, the crown will fit you.
So you invented the football helmet.
Yes, I did.
Mardi Gras chief costume.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Mardi Gras.
Because of
just,
the size of
Right.
the crown I was going to wear.
Did you ever play football?
No, man. Played baseball
Right.
for high school.
Andrew was a baseball player, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Had
I
a,
was a
had a,
crafty lefty.
yeah, I had a scholarship to Southern.
Is that
Nice.
right? As a
And-
baseball player?
Yeah, and I stayed out a semester. They sent my name in, and I was drafted.
Wow.
Wow. So that changed your whole life. You could have been a pro ball player.
I could have been, maybe, but that was it at that time. You can't look behind no more. You got to
Right.
look forward.
There you
Yeah.
go.
What do you think about the Third World War with Iran?
Now you want me to get in somebody else's business.
Well, you're the only person at the table here who's actually been in a war.
Yeah, it's something you can't predict. You don't know what tomorrow is going to be about that.
Yeah.
I do know that neither side can't stand a big killing. Now that, that don't make sense.
Well, none of the wars make sense in retrospect, do they?
Right,
Maybe the Second World War, I guess, to some extent.
right. But, no, I'm third generation military.
Is that right?
Yeah, I was Vietnam. My dad was wounded in North Africa. My uncle was in, his brother was in Korea. And my grandfather is buried in France. He was killed in World War I.
Wow.
Good heavens. Wow. Are you single or married or what?
I'm married,
How long have you been married?
53 years.
Okay, how about that, Anne?
That's amazing. Happily married?
Well,
That's a different question.
we had matchmaker. and it was God. So we ain't had nothing. We ain't had too much to say about it, you know.
How did
But I
God?
can't stand her. But that's my partner.
How did God pull that off? Were you? How did you meet?
Well, we've been knowing each other since we was 12 years old. We grew up with each other.
And she's the same age as you. Both 12. I mean, you were both 12. weren't you?
Yeah.
Wow.
We come from an area called Boscoville.
Vascoville. Vascoville.
Yeah, that's the 3 villages of Gentilly before you had a real Gentilly or East New Orleans.
Are you
Right.
serious?
Oh, yeah.
That's another. Have you ever heard of that, Bats?
Yeah.
Vascoville.
It sounds like something that my
But
grandparents.
it's behind Dillard.
Right.
It's Circuit
Yeah.
Dillard.
I grew up on Bruxelles Street,
You come
right off Paris Avenue, so I know
you
that
come
area.
from Pilotland.
Okay, there we go.
Pilot. You're from
Let
Pilot
me know
Land.
where I come from.
Yeah.
I need to know.
You had the 3 villages of Gentilly. You had Pilotland. What was the one in the front? You had Boscoville.
I'll tell you. C-Rock will tell us. He knows everything. Sugar Hill.
Sugar Hill.
And I went to Dillard, so I should know these things.
Yeah.
You went to Dillard.
Yeah, Dillard University.
Yeah, well, you know.
Is
Dillard
that in
was-
Pilot Town? Or?
It's right where
No,
you're talking about.
you're right. It's,
Right.
That's right.
Where do these names come from originally?
Well, different people, you know, before us,
Right.
you know, named them and something. Mostly named after people.
So, okay, so you've been married for 53 years. Did you say 53? Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the 53rd, or this will be 54 this year?
54.
This will be the 54th year. Okay, so what's the secret to staying married?
Ain't no secret.
How'd you pull it off?
I don't know. As the book says, I don't even know.
And, well, what is the secret?
I think it's just probably having the wherewithal to hang in there, because it's not going to be all roses and sunshine. I think there's going to be a lot of ups and downs probably throughout
Yeah,
the years.
a whole
Yeah.
bunch of it.
Are you single, Bats?
Not currently, no.
All right.
Well, I'm not married, but yeah, I have a
But
girlfriend.
you have a girl. How did you
Yeah.
meet?
In acting circles, because she's an actor as well, and it just linked up, clicked,
Right.
and it went from there. I'm laughing at Ann because she's like, I'm a matchmaker. I'm not the marriage
Right.
expert. I'll
Right.
put you together, then let you get
Fuck you.
together.
But the success rate of being a matchmaker, or the determination of success, would be whether or not someone stays together, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Whether it's in a long-term relationship or a marriage.
How long do they have to be together before their breakup is no longer your fault as a matchmaker?
I feel like anything over 6 months is probably a success for me.
That sounds fair.
Okay.
And if they
Yeah.
screw it up, that's on them.
Right.
Yeah, well, you can't be able to predict what it's going to be like 6 months out.
Absolutely.
So that's a good question. How far out can you predict up to? I mean, let's go back to the beginning. If I come to you, I'm single and I'm looking to meet somebody. How do you find me somebody? Does someone else have to have come to you?
So I do have sort of a database of eligible singles, but I start with figuring out who would be the ideal match for you by an extensive conversation about what's most important, what would make you happy in the long term, kind of values.
Do you have to know that?
Yes, absolutely. It's not something I can just.
You can't
send.
discern that by asking me like a bunch of leading questions. You have to ask me what makes you happy, and I have to tell you.
Yes,
Actually.
or try. Sometimes
That's not that easy to do.
it's not.
Maybe
And
there's some hypotheticals involved.
maybe, and I mean some of it is intuitive, but I think just getting to know a person, whether or not they're giving me specific answers, I think you just get a vibe from them and an idea of kind of who they are and what would be a good match for them. And a lot of it is getting the feedback after the matches. Am I getting close? It's kind of like showing a house, right? They might not tell me everything and then
Right.
come back and say, oh, I want an open kitchen or whatever it is. I mean, in general, just...
Huh. That doesn't sound that complicated. It sounds
It
like
is.
that
It's
sounds like
humans.
that sounds like anybody could do that. I could just ask a bunch of questions and think,
Right.
you know who you might like, my friend so and so. It's got to be a bit more scientific than that, doesn't it?
Yes. I mean, I think there's a lot that goes into it. I think people's love languages are important to know.
Love language. Okay.
I didn't come up with that myself.
What is love language?
Gary Chapman wrote a book, probably. I don't know if any of you have ever read it. It's called The 5 Love Languages, and it's just about how people like to receive love and how they feel loved, and there's 5 different ways. And
Okay. What else?
so they are acts of service, like for instance, if you wash her car or I don't know, take out the trash, whatever it is.
If you do something nice for somebody else.
Right.
Okay.
Quality time, pretty self-explanatory. Touch, physical touch. words of affirmation.
Oh.
That's for some people. That's really important. And the fifth one is, good Lord,
Sugar Hill,
no,
Pilot Town.
that's not in your notes. I would love to get rescued.
Is it on your website?
I just
Sea
looked
Rock-
it up. It's
Okay.
Thank you.
words of affirmation, acts of service, receiving
Gifts.
quality time, and physical
Yeah.
touch.
Okay.
Yes.
And if you do all 5 of those, someone's going to like you?
No, you don't need to do all 5. The big thing is figuring out, how that person perceives what you're doing and how they like to be
Oh,
shown
so
love
I
and
might think
speaking.
that getting gifts is bullshit because it's just
Sure.
material, but I like to be touched.
Because there's
Sure.
a quiz that you could take. Because my
Right.
girlfriend, she
Yes.
put me on that where it's like
Yeah.
you can take the quiz and see what your love language is.
Right.
Ah,
And they
did you
can-
do it?
Yeah, I did. I forgot what mine was, though. I think it was, I got to remember it. But yeah, but they let you know which ones, like you said, you might think that receiving gifts is bullshit, but quality time is that number one that
Right,
rocks for
right.
you. So yeah, so they, like what she was saying, understanding what you like makes
Okay.
it easier to match you with someone else.
So if I'm this kind of person who likes to get gifts, say, and I come to you, you can hook me up with someone who just give me stuff?
No, not necessarily, but let's just say somebody is, physical touch is their love language, and then, I'm not going to match them with somebody who's completely cold and not affectionate, who's unable to speak their love language, so to speak. So
Okay.
it's not the end-all, be-all, but it's just one tool that I
But who
use.
doesn't like to touch somebody?
You'd be surprised. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, you know, really?
No, I'm a toucher. Touch
Yeah,
me, hug
yeah.
me. I
Doesn't
like it. But
everyone like to be touched, don't you think, Chief?
No, I'm a chief. I don't like to be touched.
You don't? You don't want people
off.
touching you?
No.
What about your wife? You want your wife to touch you?
That's a different thing.
Well, that's
but,
what I'm talking about.
I just don't like to be touched
By strangers?
by strangers.
Well, no, I don't think people want. I'm not talking about
certain
strangers.
family members.
Maybe.
I don't think most people want strangers coming up to them and touching them.
Yeah. Well,
Do they?
Well, yeah. A lot of people like to be touched. Touch is the same thing as laughter.
Yeah.
Laughter is one. You can't
Right.
imagine the people that don't like to laugh.
Really?
Well, yeah, right.
What kind of people would that be?
people you have met? People I've met.
People don't like to laugh. That's it.
I have a friend who said I hate comedies. I'm like, you don't like any comedies? Now they was like, no, that's not my thing. I don't like the genre at all. And I just like, what gives you joy? And they like drama and documentaries and horror movies, and that's kind of scary for me because then it's like, so do you laugh at the horror movies?
right.
Is this what it is? They said, yeah.
People,
So
right? People,
Wow,
people
that's
think
macabre.
when
so
you're
many
laughing,
different kind of people.
People think when you're laughing, you're not serious. Chief, you're always laughing. What else I'm gonna do?
Yeah, right. Well, you're high most of the time, right?
Not really.
Not really? No. Hey, listen.
That was a time.
Yeah.
But it ain't
Have
that no
you?
more.
That's over now.
Oh yeah.
So there's a lot of smoking pot goes into making Mardi Gras.
No.
Indian
No.
costume.
Families. Once you become an Indian under the tribe, you're really family.
Right.
Ask the one sitting over there. He's family.
So, how did you? But the interesting thing about being an Indian is the amount of sewing involved,
much sewing.
because it's a super sort of macho thing, isn't it? It's like a very masculine, manly.
No, we have queens.
Parading.
We have queens in that, but always had queens.
Right.
Who sew much better than us for some reason.
Yeah, but I mean, being an Indian and being on the street and parading and being a part of a gang is like a real male thing.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
not.
It is.
It's tough.
Oh, yeah,
And
it
yet
is.
the other side of it is that you're sewing these beautiful, ornate.
You sew from your heart. You sew all year long.
Right.
Some of those suits have 140,000 beads and 140,000 sequins.
Wow.
So how you measure that? You got 1,000 beads in one pack. You figure how many packs you done bought.
How much does this cost to make a thing?
I told you some things you
I
can't
just can't say.
say.
Okay. What about? So how did you learn to sing and play?
Sing and play?
Yeah.
Well, it's not that I learned to sing. You sing from your heart. You sing in telling stories.
Right.
You sing to brag on yourself. And that's it. But that's what you do.
I see you have a drum. You have a drum here and a
Yeah.
tambourine.
Mhm.
You want to play something?
I brought it, but I really don't want to play nothing.
Can we talk you into it?
I don't know what
What do you?
give me that little.
Just sort of some.
Give me that small tambourine in the middle.
Do you write your own stuff, Chief?
Well, it's based.
Or do you do traditional?
It's based on you coming up with stuff that you create. You know, there's no stuff on paper or anything.
Right.
But you know, it's that. You know, and early in the morning. Early in the morning. I say early in the morning. Ula mañana. Say early in the morning. Jump on me and make a huna yeah. Jump in the bag, gonna come back to pretty little woman from way downtown. Jumping and jump around. I got to charge you for the rest.
That's cool.
That's pretty unbelievable. It's a whole multifaceted thing. Is that
you're telling a story,
right?
And you know what I just sung. It's not on no paper or anything.
Right.
You might get somebody put it on paper and say, "I'm gonna make $1 million." No, it ain't like that.
So, really?
All right.
You can't make any money out of this thing, can you?
Oh, you can make plenty of money out
Can
if
you?
you know what you're doing.
Well, what do you?
Most people that has made money out of this, we just didn't know they was around us.
You mean people ripping you off,
Right.
making money out of it?
Yeah, well, you have something right now. What is that? Won't Bow Down, huh? Yeah, that's over 100 years old.
The song.
No, the
What?
words.
The words won't bow down.
Right, the words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
is it?
Yeah, right. And we've been using that over 100 years. And
Yeah.
we got other things we use. You know, and we getting so way we more careful on what we saying because this is basically sacred to us.
Right.
You know, we do this for the people.
So if in a way, if it was more business set up on like getting the rights to that term, y'all have made it like y'all have been paid.
Yeah, well,
A long
most
time ago.
people out there that we have done it in the front of in this present age, they taught us about copyrights,
Yeah,
trademarks.
So we've been able to get the newer songs trademarked and copywritten.
Oh yeah, a lot of
cool,
Indians
cool.
is trademarked.
'Cause that's
I'm trademarked. You
Okay,
know?
good.
Right, you know, but
because I didn't know that the pellet that saying was from the. I didn't know that they took it like that. So.
oh man, you got so much stuff that some people have saying. I was in France and saw a picture of me in the window,
Yeah.
and the picture was selling for $3,000.
Wow.
Now you talking about a 5x7 picture. Now with it selling for $3,000, whoever sold it to him must have sold it for $1,000.
Mm.
And our suits cost way over $1,000.
You got transfer.
Our suits cost more than
$1,000.
No way. He said low. More. He says over $1,000.
Over
So
$1,000, yeah.
you have a starting mark.
Right.
So you
More
know, that's us though. That's us. You know, we for the people. We for the people in the family.
Has anyone come along who's a business person who's tried to organize you and make this into a business, into a money-making proposition?
Yeah.
Like a managing type person?
And well, I'm a chief. I'm the manager.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Right. You know, and my Indians, they're very independent. I like them. You know, I've had Indians. I ain't gonna call their name, but they didn't. You know, they're millionaires today with their companies. Couldn't do this too long, and you know, it's a thing where you got to respect this. Respecting this culture means a whole lot to all of us. And some people don't do it. And you can't go out and start fighting everybody because they don't do it.
Right.
We just stay to ourselves.
Well, you can't make somebody, you can't conscript somebody into the Indians like you got
Well,
drafted into the army.
a lot of people would love to mass as an Indian, but they want to do it temporarily. This is in my heart to do it till I die.
Yeah, could I just do it one Mardi Gras, like riding a parade and, you know, just for the experience? You can't do that.
You definitely couldn't do it because you got to come back to that mic. And And you're going to tell
And
everything.
so there is like, it's a secret organization is what you're saying, right?
Some people call it secret. We call it from our heart.
Okay. Well, it can be both, I suppose.
It could.
You can have something from your heart that you don't want anyone to know.
And that would be your...
Like I like to get gifts.
That would be your... that would be your termination.
Right.
You know, but a mine would be what I just said. You
Right.
know.
So it's an organization it's mutually supportive. Like anybody in it is...
Yeah.
It's like a social aid and pleasure club.
Yeah, you got to have a job. You got to buy beads. You got to
Right.
buy marabou. You got to buy feathers. You got to buy plumes.
Do you do a lot of like counseling to young guys? You talk to people?
Yeah, right. I adopt different schools and do things with school under the Hall of Fame, under the Harrison family.
Right.
Right, and I do a lot of that through them. I had another school before that I had adopted. It was in the neighborhood, but the hurricane knocked that one out.
When you say adopted, what does that mean?
Adopt.
What do you mean by adopt? You adopt all the
I
kids?
take- yeah,
You
I-
buy them lunch every day?
No, just go in and teach them different things about the culture.
Right.
Yo, Chief,
cool.
what's a marabou? I heard
is
you say a
Thomas.
marabou.
Marabou is feathers, but it's strong, and you use it for trim.
So it's not just a street in New Orleans then?
Yeah, it's a street in New Orleans too.
Right.
I used to live 4 blocks from it.
I've never heard of one before, so I had
Oh
to
yeah,
ask.
So Marabou.
Yeah, on Marabou Avenue.
So you're making a new suit every year,
Yes,
correct?
sir. Mhm.
Is the headdress the same, or is it a new headdress
it could
as
be
well?
the same. It could be the same frame, but the sewing is
changing it.
different. You know, every year you make a new suit.
That would be a good song right there.
We late on that one. Didn't made that song.
So what do you do? So Mardi Gras Day to you is the most religious day of the year.
It's not. It's the most fun
It's the
time.
most sacred day of the year. I should say.
No, it's the most sacred day. We know what that day is, but it's a day that you can get friends and family together to enjoy themselves on a festive day.
So it's the same for you as for everybody else, Mardi Gras Day. Mardi
Yeah.
Gras Day is everybody gets loaded
Right,
and
but
has
you
fun.
see, Mardi Gras Indians one time stayed in the area.
Right.
We all come from neighborhoods, and we stayed in our area. I can remember we wasn't even allowed on Mardi Gras on Canal Street at one time.
Did
Yes,
the
we
Indian tribes used to fight each other?
Yeah, but you was coming out your area.
So if you went into someone else's territory, you could expect to...
Yeah, but it wasn't like people have made it sound like. It's not like that.
People used to say that the Indians would carry a knife in their costume and pull it out and stab you if you're...
You don't have to be an
that
Indian
true?
to carry a knife. You know,
That's another good bumper sticker.
Yeah, right. You don't. You know, that's just attitudes. No, man, Indians, we love the people.
Mm-hmm.
We love the people love us, and as we're going through this culture, more people is starting to love us. You know, I've been a lot of places, and if I say I'm a chief, what kind of chief you are? I say, well, I'm a Black Mexican Indian chief. I'm a Mardi Gras Indian chief. Oh, now the conversation has started. You know?
It is pretty impressive. How many Mardi Gras Indian chiefs are there at any one time in New Orleans?
Well, God just did something, called it the 42 chiefs.
42.
42 chiefs. Well, you got more than that.
I was thinking that would be a lot.
Right.
The majority of the chiefs that I started under is deceased now.
So you're the king of the
No,
chiefs.
no,
Chief
no.
of the chiefs.
No, you got a lot of older chiefs out there.
Is that right?
And believe it, you got what you call second liners. Second liners sometimes know more than Indians. These are the people who walk with Indians, grew
Right.
up walking with Indians.
But aren't you getting some sort of award this week even from the
yeah.
from the Positive Vibrations Foundation,
Yeah.
who are a sponsor of Happy Hour?
What
by
is
the way?
that? What is that? Offbeat?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was the
Yeah.
Positive Vibrations Foundation. It's
Yeah, it's part of
you
that.
don't know what it is? You want me to tell you?
Yeah, you could. You've been telling me everything else. Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right, I'll tell you this as well. I don't know. Is it here somewhere? No, I can't find it. You don't know what it is, for real? Are you just saying that, or you do know what it is?
You know, what's the name of the award?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know? I don't know either. C-Rock might be able to tell us.
See, you supposed to know when I don't know.
I know, I am supposed to know that. You're right about that.
Right.
But I thought it was here in my notes, but I don't see it. But anyway, it's some sort of award from the Positive Vibrations Foundation. That's sort of Lifetime Achievement Award. Have you got a speech prepared for that in case you have to say something? No, not worried about that.
I'll do just like I did here.
Just wing it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, listen, we're going to take a break for 1 second, and when we come back, Andrew Duhon's going to play us a song. Are you ready for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Andrew, are you ready for that?
I will be when we get back from the break.
Okay. We'll be right back after this. And we're back on Happy Hour with Ann Parnes, who's a matchmaker, Bats Bradford, who's an actor, Chief Delco of the Osceola tribe. Is that Creole Osceola?
Creole Osceola.
Creole Osceola tribe. And singer-songwriter Andrew Duhon, who's also the co-host of the show, who's somewhere at the Maple Leaf Bar where we are today, getting his guitar. Where is that? Where did he go exactly? Can you see? Anyone can see him?
He's right there.
He's right there. Okay. Oh, it's so dark. Okay. So Andrew has a guitar, and every week on the show, Andrew plays us a song that he's been writing during the course of the week. So you never know what's going to show up.
You really shouldn't have prefaced it that way this week.
You haven't been working?
Oh, no, I have. In fact, it's quite the contrary. I feel like I've been in the songwriting cave for past couple weeks, and it's either unfinished or I played it for you already. So I'm just going to play you a song I played for you already.
You think you did play it already?
Yeah, although we have different guests every week, so what's the difference, right?
You know, we forgot to set up the guitar mic this week.
It's fine. I'll just hold it up to this guy.
We can turn Bats' one around.
Yeah, that's going to work. All right. This is a song that I wrote when I was a young man.
Wow, that's going back now.
In one hand, here's a guitar with no guitar case. In the other, a suitcase with no suits. Waiting on a ride to his big break. Hoping it don't break him clean in two. He's waiting in the wings, killing time, but time's a deadly thing. And ain't no telling what that waiting game gonna bring, but there's no bright lights waiting in the wings. Gets his drinks from a girl named Samantha. She turns his 10s and 5s to 1s and change. He don't tip much, but to her that don't matter. If he'd take the time, she'd gladly change her name. She's waiting in the wings, killing time, but time's a deadly thing. And ain't no telling what that waiting game gonna bring, but there's no bright lights waiting in the wings. But if you get a chance at that spotlight, Samantha, get your things. 'Cause nothing ever feels quite so right. It's walking out there from the wings. We're waiting in the wings, killing time, but time's a deadly thing. Ain't no telling what that waiting game gonna bring, but there's no bright lights waiting in the wings. No bright lights waiting in the wings. Thanks, y'all.
Live from the Maple Leaf. How about that?
I mean, I haven't played at the Maple Leaf in years.
When was the last time you played here?
You just nonchalantly drop magic, and now he's getting back to I'm just talking like nothing. That was great.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Indeed.
Appreciate
Beautiful,
you
right?
guys.
Isn't that great that you can just pick up a guitar and do that?
And just get back to like nothing just happened.
Well, that's actually not true. I've played before.
It is amazing that you can just sit it. I mean, you think you're just having a normal conversation with someone normal, and then you find out they can do all that. It would be like kind of watching you act, though. You know?
I would hope so.
It's just, you can't believe that somebody you know can do stuff like that. Like you've done Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Well, you played Macbeth.
Macbeth, yeah.
Nice.
I was in Measure for Measure. Done a few Shakespeare. Like I came up a theater kid, and after graduating college, I just hit the ground hard, trying to get into TV and film. Eventually got an agent, and just been trying to stay consistent from there.
You've been working a lot. I mean, you work all the time, right?
Pushing.
Isn't it?
All the time is relative, man. You have your good months and your bad months.
Is it okay to call New Orleans home? Do you have to move to New York or L.A. to be, always pounding it? Or can your agent just be on it and you head where the opportunities are?
That's a tricky question. It just depends on... There's no set map. It's almost like we were talking about love earlier when they asked you about your marriage, about how you do it. It's there's you can say a bunch of things, but what fits you fits you. So for some people, maybe New York is a thing. For some people, you can stay in New Orleans. It really is how your career maps out, because right now, especially with technology, you can send out an audition tape from where you are.
Right.
But then you might get to a position where, let's say the movers and shakers in California, they want to see you tomorrow, and you're in Nevada, or not Nevada, let's say Maine, and you don't have the money to get in front of them right there. Well, then it might have been a better position if you were at that moment hot like that to probably be in L.A. But if you're already doing whatever you're doing where you are, maybe it works for you. But it's not always a simple answer.
Right.
The things you're saying, I've heard before. My nephew is an actor, Terrence Rosemore.
Yeah, I know T. That's a friend of mine. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. And his uncle was Leroy Delco. He was an actor also.
Yeah, heard his name in theater circles.
Yeah. And some of the things you're saying, I done heard before in that manner.
Yes, indeed. But one great thing about a spot like New Orleans, as far as acting and film goes, is it's not like a million. It's not like thousands and thousands of people. It's like a small knit circle. A lot of us actors even know each other. So when these movies have to come here, there's certain roles that they have to cast, or else they're not going to get their money back, or they're not going to get the tax credits. So we fight for those roles. So you can build up a nice little resume here, big fish, small pond, and then take that on to the LAs and New York and expand your market. Because at the end of the day, you're just trying to be known in all these other markets. You don't have to necessarily live there forever. But let's say if I went to LA, gave them 2 years and got in front of those casting directors, go to New York, give them a few years, I can come back home and they all know me at that point, so it just depends on where you are in your career.
So speaking of that, I have some friends who I would say are probably like community theater all-stars, but they have other jobs and they're deciding not to make a move to LA or New York but what's a move for someone like that if they decide they want to get ambitious and try to make the next step? Do they have to make an audition tape and that's it? Or what is the move? Do you need to spend some time in another market?
I mean, you're saying community theater all-stars as in they haven't done any TV or film yet? Because mostly they need an agent. That's the first step, acquiring an agent so they can put you in the game to be able to fight for these other roles.
So what's it take to get an agent?
Headshot, resume, if you had a reel of some sort. And the way you can get a reel is there are different websites. Like there's a website called Actors Access and Casting Database that you can sign up to, where people are often looking for people to be in their indie films or their short films. You can try to get in student films, like UNO in particular. They have this graduate program. They're always looking around a certain time for actors to be in their film, and they won't pay you, but you're going to get so much experience and you get more of that footage for your reel to be able to present in front of the agents. Sometimes it'd be tricky because sometimes you could get an agent from a referral. Sometimes they might just like your headshot and you just look like somebody one on their roster. You feel me? So, but that would be the biggest first step. But also on that site, Actors Access, there's opportunities for an actor to put in their own, submit themselves for different films and such. So, once again, no set map, but there's different ways you can go. But,
some of the things you're saying, I've heard before. I had 3 episodes on Treme.
Word.
And I got that, and I wound up being the consultant on it through the Indian stuff, through Donald Harrison.
Okay.
You know, he had to go out of town, so they picked me to deal with it, and it was experience, you know, to see that, and I saw stuff like neighborhoods that was messed up for the hurricane got fixed, but they messed it up again to shoot the film, you know.
Right.
And it was strange to me on how they do that. And now I see a lot of what's that, movies.
Yeah, film and TV.
Yeah, film and TV in my city. I don't have to go to
Hollywood. You can stay here. So, Bats, is there enough work for an actor that you can stay here?
It depends
keep
on
working?
it depends on the gig you get, because at a point, it depends on who you talk to. Because I know some actors that are just in New Orleans.
What about for you, say?
For me currently, I think I got to go make a stint out in California to get in front more of casting directors. Honestly, I feel like I've hit, like, I won't say a glass ceiling necessarily.
But you've sort of hit critical mass. You've done everything you can do here now.
I've done a lot of things,
Right.
and I just want to get more opportunities. You know, so
when are you going to do it? When are you leaving?
whenever I can get enough money for it to make sense. 'Cause
You're
a lot of
never
people,
going to
they
have
just-
enough money to leave.
But I mean, you don't want to just. A lot of people, they just roll out there with a prayer and a dream. I want a plan.
Okay.
You know,
Nice.
so I want to be able to have like at least an LA representation. Know I'm gonna have some kind of a job, even if it's a poop job, even if it's on somebody's couch.
Right.
But I want to come out there with some weapons so I can actually do battle, as they say. Because
But you've done tons of stuff. You have a real impressive resume of stuff you've been in, and a real.
It's just about acquiring
So
other
this is the
things.
time to do it.
Hey,
2020.
You're not far off, but I always want to live in New Orleans. So it's almost like in my brain, it's like doing a stint. Go out there,
Right.
meet the people I need to meet, let them see me, and then, okay, now come find me out here.
So
I feel comfortable.
Sound like you like New Orleans.
I'm born and raised, you know.
I hear you. I hear you.
Yes, indeed.
Are there lots of people like you when you get out to Hollywood, or have you got some sort of a special like niche that you can?
I don't know. I think the
Exploit.
best advice I would have to give to myself and anyone else is taking ownership of the only you, and really finding power in that. Because at times people get so bogged down about all the other people and all the competition, and at the end of the day, like, no one can do you like you. Even
Right.
if 5 of us read the same role or read the same thing, they can't sound like me, they can't look like me, they can't do the things that I can do, and I can't do the things they can do. And it's not going to be it's not going to be our decision. It's going to be up to whoever's casting or whatnot. So since it's so out of my hands, the only thing that is in my hands is focusing on myself. So when you ask that question, I just think, well, I don't care if there could be 5 people that think they look like me. There could be 25 people that sound like me, but I'm still me.
Right.
So I feel like that matters.
Yeah, that's the key, is having confidence in yourself, isn't it, to make it in this business?
Having confidence and also working on the craft. Like, you have to have the confidence, you have to work the craft too, because some people just have confidence and then the talent and the craft work is lacking.
No, you have to be talented, obviously,
Right,
to get in. Yeah, but there's a lot of rejection involved in this.
Part of the game.
Yeah. So
Part
how
of
do
the game.
how do you handle that?
You just accept it. It's part of it. And half the time people think they're going to just get a bunch of no's to your face. They just don't hit you back.
Right.
You just don't
You're
hear
saying,
anything.
yeah.
So it's just...
It's like ghosting. It's
it's
like
just-
dating, right, Ann?
It's literally ghosting.
That's right.
Yes.
So, Ann, see,
Every date is an audition.
It is.
Hey, that's a good way of looking at it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't tell my clients that. I try to take the pressure off so they can just go and enjoy themselves.
But
yeah,
I had a look on your website, and one of the things you do, Ann, it says you do date coaching and advice.
that's right.
So you have an actor's coach, Pat? Do you have?
Not a direct one currently, no. Not right now. I have people I work with, and I stay. If I'm not doing film and TV, I stay in theater just to stay sharp.
Right.
So I'm just always trying to be on it in some way.
So what is date coaching?
So it's really meeting people wherever their challenges are. I think for some people, they just keep choosing the wrong partner or ignoring red flags. Or for others, it's figuring out, kind of who is that right partner for them. Some people really just need help with the basics of like how to behave and when to reach out and what to say. And,
Can you
all of it
wear like a headphones?
No,
like
I wish
an
I
earpiece
could.
and you-
Just be in the ear.
I'm dying to.
So how does date coaching work? Do you do like role playing? I come in and you pretend to be my date, and we go
With some
through-
people, yes. With
Let's
some
do
people,
it.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you serious, really?
I mean, I haven't had to do that, a lot, but I do have people who say, okay, if this is a situation that presents, how should I handle that? And so we'll go through.
Okay, so
with
how
that.
do you know the answer to these things?
I think some people are, I think one of my skills is I'm pretty good with people and I have awareness of just sort of human nature and what works.
Is it common sense, or have you just been doing
Not for
this for such a
everybody.
long time? Right, for
Not
you,
for
that-
everybody. For
that
me, I
comes
do
naturally
think
to
that,
you.
yes.
So you didn't go to dating school?
I did get certified as a coach.
As a life coach?
Yes, and
Okay.
I did take, tailor some of my classes to relationships, and I think I've been coaching my friends. This phone starts ringing at 6:30 in the morning with
With what?
some of my closest girlfriends calling with whatever ridiculous situation they're in and need advice.
So you're the person that everybody calls and
That's
says,
right.
you won't believe this
That's
shit.
right, right. I
You
get a
wouldn't
lot
believe what he said.
Yes.
What's the most common thing that you wouldn't believe this shit?
Oh, gosh.
What did he say or do?
I think a lot of it is like people not caring, not, keeping their word. It's a lot of empty promises, a lot of,
Really?
a lot of people just with empty words and not following through with their actions. So that's a big one. And I think some people don't really realize when that's the case, and they make excuses of why that's happening. So I get people to really question, take a look. If you're making excuses for someone, that should ring alarm bells in
Do
your
you
head.
get a lot of whys, in the conversation? Why this, why that?
Oh, of course. Yeah, everybody wants to know why this is happening, and what is the other person thinking, and really trying to figure out what is going on in the other person's head. And for me, it's like look at the behavior and forget about why, because it could be a million reasons of what's going on. But all you have before you is how they're behaving and how they're treating you and what they're giving you, and that's all you can work with. So
I always work on the principle that it's not me, that it's usually you're the problem.
And I think you're exactly right.
Well, just like Bat was saying with casting, it's like no one else is you. You just have to present
Right.
you and let the casting director decide what they want for that role.
But it's pretty,
Right.
it's pretty
Good
hard.
time roll from
But
there.
it's pretty hard to do that in real life, and probably even in acting, because you want to be the person that somebody else wants. You want them to like you, and you want them to have sex with you, and you want them to buy you things or whatever it is you want out of a relationship.
But you
right?
want them to like you for you. I mean, how long can you really keep an act going,
Well,
right?
that's
I
the
mean,
problem.
you can be the best version of yourself, but ultimately you have to be yourself, or
Yeah.
it's not going to work
It
out.
almost feels like culture teaches that, though. In a way, most times in dating, you almost get the person's representative for a good 6 to 8 months, and then you start seeing the cracks. Maybe after we've been together for a year, it's like, oh, okay, this is you. So, and like that honesty is what's
But isn't
often
that-
lacking.
But isn't that
Just
like in your
generally.
relationship, though, you don't know someone, like there's like these milestones.
Sure.
After 3 weeks, there's someone that's different from the person you thought you were dating, and then there's 3 months, and then 6 months, and then after a year, you're like, you find out all kinds of stuff about each
you
other
need to
that
know
you
it.
didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because
that's,
it's not like someone could just tell you everything about themselves on the first
Yeah.
date.
And they shouldn't.
Right.
And they shouldn't.
At all.
so how is it different using you as opposed to using Match.com or eHarmony or something like that?
Well, I personally vet everybody. I don't ever set anybody up before I've sat down with them and had a conversation and, figured out if they have sort of the most important qualities that my client is looking for,
So you have a client. So I come to you and I say, I'm looking for somebody. So then you go out on my behalf like an agent
Correct.
looking for someone.
Like a headhunter, like an agent. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so I say I'm
Wow.
looking for someone who likes to touch me and buy me gifts. Just say 2 out of 5 love languages. I'm bilingual. And so you go looking for that person?
I do.
Or do you discern something in me that I wouldn't have even seen myself and say, what this guy really wants is...
Hopefully both. I think it's a mix of, sometimes other people can sense things that we can't sense, and hopefully asking the right questions to get you to be honest, and which is a challenge with some of my clients, but about, what has worked in the past, what hasn't, really what would it take for them to be in a long-term relationship happily.
So
Because
everybody...
we're not always honest with ourselves
No, we're
when
not.
it comes
Right.
to
That's the thing. You don't know yourself all that well, really.
all the time.
You think you do until you're in a relationship, and then you find out that perhaps you weren't like that.
So, wait, am I getting this right? That you're going out to the general public to try to find the match for your client?
I have a number of avenues. My favorite way to find a match is once I have in my head sort of the type of person I'm looking for is to think, who do I know who might know that person, and to reach
Sure.
out to
Yeah,
my
okay.
personal contacts, because it's always nice to have a second opinion, and somebody who knows someone is a little bit feels safer to me. I do have that database that anybody can sign up for, and then I'll meet with them and kind of do my own research about them.
Sounds
but
a lot like my career.
yeah.
You say I have to vet them, I have to make sure that they're good, then I'm going
Right.
to send them out. And then, okay.
Hope for the best, right? I go to a lot of targeted events where I'm likely to meet the type of person I'm looking for.
What do you mean by that? Like what? What's a targeted event?
So I go to a lot of Chamber of Commerce networking
So you'd like
events.
trolling for single people.
Trolling sounds so negative.
Well, you just said
searching. Yeah. Searching. Recruiting.
Are you looking around here, like right now? Looking for...
I wasn't doing that right now. Yeah.
No, not this table necessarily, but like
No.
there's
Well,
Douglas, for example,
right.
over there, and Sea
Great.
Rock.
Who said that? Someone in the back said I'm single.
I'm completely incurably undateable, I'm pretty sure.
Incurably.
Who said that? Asher.
Yeah.
Did you say that?
I did say that.
Okay,
yeah.
listen, this is Asher.
What
who's-
makes you
Who's
undateable?
Facebook, yes.
I drink too much. I don't shower. I'm a little overweight. I don't own a car.
That's why you need a partner to just balance
I'm like
that
a
side.
side opposite real time.
There's a lid for
He
every
leads
pot.
with the good foot, right?
Wait, that was awesome.
Yeah.
There's a lid for every pot.
Can we go down the list again? You drink too much. Couldn't you curtail your drinking?
I could, yeah.
So it's
I have.
possible.
So do you care that you're not meeting anybody because you drink too much? Or
That's part of what
you'd rather
drives
drink?
it, you see.
The loneliness. Yeah, okay. So that makes you drink too much. So
But
maybe
if you
if
had
you
someone
stop.
you wouldn't drink as much.
That's
So
Right.
it's fixable.
There
Keep
it
going.
is.
I don't know. Is that true? If you find the right person, does it really change everything?
It can. I mean, obviously, if you have some sort of an addiction, that's completely different from
Right,
if you're
sorry,
drinking from loneliness. not you. I'm just saying. That's something I would need to know. But yeah.
Okay, so what else? You drink too much. You're
He doesn't
slightly
shower.
overweight. Oh, you don't look overweight to me at
No.
all.
I think I'm probably about 20 pounds.
You're fine.
20 pounds overweight. No, I think you're looking at the wrong BMI there.
Yeah.
You look. What do you think, Chief? Does he look good or what?
Don't stop me lying.
But I was talking with some friends recently about what you said, like with the BMI. Oftentimes, what we think is overweight because the idiot box told us that it's not. Like, oftentimes, it's like we get so bogged down by the aesthetic of what we think fit is, and it's not really about the aesthetic all the time. So you look fine to us, man.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you don't shower?
Yeah, I was just kidding.
No, that's just self-deprecating humor.
Yeah, I haven't today. It's really important.
So you're showing us you have charm. I think he's really dateable.
Yeah. What do you think, Anne? Come on. Could you find him
Absolutely.
somebody?
Absolutely.
I think that like my biggest problem is that I haven't really dated anyone I haven't really dated anyone outside of my friend group.
Right.
Like maybe ever. And
But you keep banging all your friends?
and then I just haven't really met anybody new in like 6 years.
What have you done to meet somebody new?
But this is
Well,
insane.
see,
You're in the
I
theater.
only go to one bar.
Hmm.
I mean,
Well, first of all, we have how many people here every week that you're meeting? Secondly,
That's-
we're working in bars and restaurants. And thirdly, you work in the theater.
yeah.
How can you not meet anybody?
I think what we
I
need
met
here are
Bats during that last show.
Yeah, I met him
actually.
at the last show.
You guys know each other?
From the last show?
Okay.
Yeah, I did.
Well, you can't date Bats because he's got a girlfriend. So
I'm sorry. man.
Take it.
he's out.
I think we need some initiating lines. For instance, I had a bandmate who had a great one. It was just, so how do we maintain correspondence? That's how he got her number every
So
time.
professional.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's
How do we
nice.
maintain correspondence? That's a nice line.
Because otherwise, it just feels so forward, and it has to be early on sometimes because it's in passing when you're meeting this person, right? And so, what do you do when you just have a moment to kind of make an impression and you want to do that?
Yeah, but
That's why social
It's
media
not easy.
dating is so big now,
Yep.
because you don't have that anxiety of, okay, I have like 5 minutes to impress this person with my whatever and hope I can get her number or whatever.
right.
So
well, hang on a sec. Do we have to do like a GoFundMe for Asher to come to you, or is it affordable?
I'm probably one of the least expensive matchmakers in the country, but it is a higher end service. I mean,
It's a
it's
higher
very
end
time
service, Asher.
consuming.
That's tattoo. Another problem that I have is that I'm pretty broke.
Okay, so I have a free
really
database. So if someone is looking for someone like you,
You're free.
You know,
have a free like,
database. So
you have like a
Rolodex.
right.
Yeah.
You can log on to your website
Yes.
for free, and
Yes.
maybe you'll get lucky and find
Absolutely.
so she won't necessarily find someone for him,
Right.
But if someone she finds
There's a-
matches him,
Right.
Correct.
If they're,
Hey, you have
if
a
they're
chance,
also
right.
That's
poor,
nice.
Can't hurt.
they're too poor to sign up for the service as well. Maybe that's the right person. How much does it cost actually to do this, or would you rather not?
No, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
For 6 months, it's $4,500, and for 12 months, it's $7,500. But
That's
I
about
just
how
came
much
back
I
from
make a year.
Utah. Yeah, and I mean, most of the matchmakers are charging $20,000.
Is that right? Mm-hmm. That does sound expensive. How many? I mean, this is not. Are there plenty of people in New Orleans with that kind of money who'll just pony up and give it to you?
You know, I'm not looking to work with a ton of people because it is so
Right.
time consuming. So there are enough people who can afford it to keep me busy.
keep you paying the rent and
Yes,
keep
yeah.
the lights on.
Yes.
That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
Is this your full-time gig or is it your side hustle?
It's my full-time gig, but let's not forget I'm married, so that does help.
So you got the husband out there working.
Correct.
What does he do?
He's a lawyer.
He's a lawyer, so that'll do it.
Yeah.
And you started out as a lawyer at
Yeah.
one point, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But you can do this full time and actually make a living out of it. And you've got
I
kids
think it's
and
what whatever energy and time you put in, just like anything else, you're going to get back. So if I want to spend a lot more time, I can take on more clients. Right now, I'm kind of about quality of life and balance. So
if we could get $4,500 for Asher, could you help him out?
So I'd need to know what he was looking for.
Do you know what you're looking for?
Am I allowed to say this, or is this like?
Yeah, you're totally allowed to. What do you mean you're allowed to say it?
I mean, no.
You have to say it into a microphone.
Not necessarily, I guess. I do have like a type. I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
She.
Upright.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
All right.
On the spot.
Let's see, like brunette.
Well, I'm interested more than superficial characteristics, although preferences are important. But I think I'm not a dating service. I think you can log on and Tinder or Match, whatever it is.
I'm not
and
a
go
dating
on.
service. Okay, so what are you?
So really trying to get you to figure out who is that right partner for you, who's going to make you happy, and
So you're not looking. This is not Tinder.
no,
we're not talking
no.
about
Why
a
would
hookup.
anybody pay that much for? That's free.
Right.
You go
We're
online
looking
and swipe
for
all
a
day long.
permanent. Right.
Correct.
So this is a whole different thing. You're going to find someone a permanent life partner.
Hopefully,
Is
so.
that what you want, Asher, or you just want someone
Yeah,
to?
sure. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. All right.
I mean, a long time ago, I assumed I'd like have a job and a wife or something like that 10 years ago, but that didn't pan out.
It doesn't fall into all of our laps. Just like with our careers, you work to get
Right.
to a certain place, and it's the same with relationships. I think
Are you
a lot of us
disappointed in
expect
this,
that.
Asher?
And who?
And are you disappointed in where you are in your life?
Oh yeah, it's just like it's another big reason for the drinking. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's been a pretty rough decade.
It's
Well,
a new
maybe
decade.
things are going to turn around. It's
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah,
I
no,
bet
I
you
have
we
a
can
lot
get.
of hope, honestly. Like,
we've
I'm
got
in
to
a
be able to
good
get
place now.
$4,500 together. Don't you think, Chief?
All I know at this time, Ashley done told all his business.
That's okay. It means he's open
Ashley
and
could
authentic.
never be an Indian.
Well, that's one door that's closed for you, Asher, I'm afraid.
But
Hey,
he
listen.
has my sympathy.
and support. Definitely support.
I actually got invited to play with the Yellow Magnolias one time. I'm a pretty accomplished slide guitar player.
Is that right?
The
See,
Yellow
that's-
Magnolia.
You play that up.
They were
Lead
playing.
with it.
I think we were at
Oh, you talking about the Wild Magnolia?
Wild Magnolia.
Okay.
Okay, hang on a
They
second.
were at.
This could be part of the problem
I
here.
think they were at Spotted Cat, and
How long have we been doing this show together with Asher? How long have we been working with us? 3 years?
I think about 3 years.
Did
yeah.
you know that he's a slide guitar player?
Only because I saw him at a gig.
You did?
Yep.
I had no idea.
Yeah, there was a while that I was that y'all were kind of opening for my band for a while.
Where was
At
that?
Hi Ho. It was on Tuesday night, like their Americana night or something.
Why don't you
Right.
play something? Why don't you come on here and play something sometime?
I got this.
We could get C-Rock and Hot will do that for 5 minutes,
You see, I got a thing that I do.
Yeah.
It's my thing. You know?
Maybe we could, girls love guys who play the guitar,
You
right,
know what we
Andrew?
should have done for the holidays is done like a crew happy hour where we turn all the mics around essentially. and,
Everybody
like, just,
doesn't.
You know,
It doesn't have to be the holidays. We can do that anytime.
maybe
It's
we'll
a good
do that.
idea.
Next time when
Okay.
Crew talk.
crew talk.
All right. C-Rock can host it. You want to be the host, C-Rock? Okay. That's a great idea.
He said, I got a lot of shit to say, man.
Yeah, he's got a lot going on. Hey, look, Happy Hour today was brought to us by Basics on Magazine Street near Jefferson Avenue. Basics underneath sells fine lingerie, and Basics Swim and Gym has a full range of fashion swimsuits, workout and yoga clothes with style, and also by the Positive Vibrations Foundation. Pay attention to this, Chief, who create and encourage community through the development and the preservation of arts, music, culture, and heritage. And this is Monique Pyle over here, who's from the Positive Vibrations Foundation. Monique, come here and tell us exactly. Come up here for 1 second, and tell Chief Delco what he's won.
That brings this week's edition of Happy Hour to an abrupt end for our host, Grant Morris. I am Thomas Walsh, the show's technical director. Our show today is produced by Graham DePonte. Our musical producer is Monique Pyle. Musical consultant, Christian Unruh. Our Facebook live feed director is Asher Griffith. And our fact checker and social media connector is Andrew C-Rock. Our theme music was written by and is currently being played by Mitch Foreman. If you'd like to be on our show, drop us a line. It's on our website, itsneworleans.com. You can check out other episodes of Happy Hour and other shows like Out to Lunch with Peter Raschuti, Live at Commander's Palace, Louisiana Eats with Poppy Tooker, and our award-winning podcast about Death the Podcast. You can find that and other great Louisiana podcasts at itsacadiana.com and itsbatonrouge.la. Keep up with us on a bunch of other time-sucking social media like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find those links on our website, itsneworleans.com. Also on that website, you can find photos from this week's show. Those are all taken by photographer Jill LaFleur, and you can find more of Jill's photos at lafleurphoto.com. If you're listening to this podcast, thanks for subscribing. If your podcast app has a share option, please try telling a couple friends about Happy Hour. We'd love to have this spread around. This show was recorded live today at the Maple Leaf Bar on Oak Street in Uptown New Orleans. Happy Hour is a production of INO Broadcast for itsneworleans.com. I'm Thomas Walsh. Many thanks to Grant Morris, our host, and Andrew Duhon, our co-host, and all of our guests for joining us at the Maple Leaf today. Thanks to everyone again back at the INO Broadcasting offices, and thank you for joining us. We'll see you back here next week for more Happy Hour.